What if the very last text you ever sent the last time your words reached the person you love most was simply, "Landed. Love you, Mama"?
So 911?
Yeah, I'd like to get, if possible, have a wellness check done on my daughter. I've been trying to get a hold of her all week. I was just wondering if I could have somebody maybe go by her house and check on her.
A father's reasonable worry calling from his home in California is about to ignite a firestorm in Salt Lake City. He doesn't know it yet, but he's peering into an abyss. He's about to learn that his daughter's life didn't just stop. It was stolen, extinguished in an act of calculated, pre-rehearsed violence.
I think we're all still in extreme shock. Even right now, I feel like I can call her and text her and she'll answer. I mean, we didn't get to say goodbye to our friend. This person stole our friend from us.
This is the story of Mackenzie Lueck. And the deadliest dangers don't lurk in shadows. They smile in profile pictures and resumes, and they hide it all with a charm. Today, we're not just looking at a missing person case. We are exposing the twisted mind of a calculated stalker, one who wrote a novel about watching a soul perish in flames. One who, just weeks earlier, hired a contractor to build a hidden soundproof chamber fitted with ominous wall restraints. And a bright, complex young woman who, in a moment of trust, stepped out of a rideshare car at 3 a.m. and walked straight into his meticulously crafted snare. And now please, take a second to like this video and subscribe to our channel. It truly helps us continue to tell the stories that need to be heard. Salt Lake City, Utah. Headquarters of the LDS Church, a city nestled in a valley known for its scenic beauty and tight-knit community. It also ranks 8th out of the 10 most dangerous cities in the U.S. But statistics are just numbers. They're abstract, until the day they make the difference of 1, and that 1 is someone you love. On Sunday, June 16, 2019, 23-year-old Mackenzie Lueck was flying back to that city, her second home. She was a student at the University of Utah, majoring in kinesiology and pre-nursing. She was bright, energetic, and just 2 semesters away from her graduation planned for May 2020. By all accounts, she was the golden daughter of El Segundo, California, a coastal suburb where she was born on March 8, 1996. She was the second of 4 children and the only daughter in a loving, close family. Her father, Greg, worked in medical logistics, and she came from an environment of care and structure. She had just spent a week at home for a somber event, her grandmother's funeral. It was a week of family-shared grief and connection. When her parents, Greg and Diane, dropped her off at LAX for her late-night flight, it was a normal, loving goodbye. See you soon. They expected to see her again when the semester ended to plan her graduation party. At 1:35 a.m. on Monday, June 17th, Mackenzie's flight landed in Salt Lake City. Like any of us would, she pulled out her phone and sent a text to her mom. "Landed, love you, Mama." Diane Lueck was asleep. She didn't see the text until she woke up a few hours later. She smiled and texted back, "Love you too." Her message didn't go through. Diane noticed something that sends a cold, slight jolt of fear to any modern parent. The message didn't send as a blue iMessage. It sent as a green SMS. Mackenzie's phone was offline. At first, it was easy to rationalize. The phone died. She was in a bad service area. She was busy studying. But as that day passed and the next, and the one after, that green bubble became a symbol of a terrifying void. Greg and Diane's calls went straight to voicemail.
Please record your message.
Their texts remained undelivered. This is a unique fear. In our hyper-connected world, digital silence is rarely just silence. It's an alarm bell. And for the Lueck family, it was a deafening one. By Thursday, June 20th, polite concern had turned into full-blown panic. This was not Mackenzie. She was responsible. She had a midterm exam due that night, June 20th, which she hadn't logged in to submit. She hadn't shown up for her job at a biotech lab. She was scheduled to fly back to Los Angeles on June 23rd for a family wedding, a flight she would never take. Her father, Greg, made the call every parent hopes they never have to. He officially reported his 23-year-old daughter missing.
Last time we heard from her, she got off the plane coming back from LA. It was 1 a.m. She was going to grab an Uber and go home, but that's the last I've heard from her.
So 1 a.m. this morning?
No, 1 a.m. Monday morning. So we've been trying to get a hold of her all week. Usually it's unlike her to return a call, but it goes straight to voicemails.
Salt Lake City police conducted a wellness check at her apartment. The details of that first visit are a small portrait in bureaucratic frustration. The officers tried to contact the landlord but got no answer. "Landlord didn't pick up," one officer noted, "so I just left him a message." They even discussed calling the university to see if she was in class, but acknowledged they probably wouldn't get any information. Greg over the phone tried to help from California.
You know what? I take that back. She said she dropped one behind the mailbox, but she could never get it out. So there may be one back there. Somebody can fish it out, but I don't know if she ever got it out or not.
They didn't find a key. Eventually, one of her 2 roommates let them in. He mentioned Mackenzie had asked him to watch her cat while she was in California, but he didn't know her exact return date. The apartment was quiet. Her car was still in the driveway. But most importantly, her suitcase, the one she'd traveled with, was gone. There was no sign of a struggle, no sign of foul play. The clear, cold implication was that she had made it to Salt Lake City, but she had never made it home. While police were hitting these initial dead ends, Greg Lueck was doing his own investigating. Mackenzie shared a bank account with her parents. Greg logged in searching for any sign of life, any transaction that could tell him where she was. He found nothing. But he did find something that worried him, an unusual transaction on June 10th for $300. He didn't know where this money had come from. He knew she hadn't been asking for tuition or rent money recently, and she had just bought new furniture. A small, persistent question began to form. What was his daughter's life in Salt Lake City really like? Police, still operating under the possibility that she was a voluntary missing person, sent a text to her phone. "You are an adult and have the right to not contact anyone you want. I just need to verify your safety. Please call me." That message, hanging in digital space, would never be read. As police and her family began to build a profile of the missing student, a more complex picture emerged. This was not a flaw in Mackenzie. It was a reflection of the immense and often hidden pressures on young people today. There was the Mackenzie her family knew, a feminist raised in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, LDS, a member of the Alpha Chi Omega sorority. In high school, she was on the swim and water polo teams and helped found a breast cancer awareness club. Her sorority's philanthropy work focused on domestic violence awareness and prevention. She was a pre-nursing student who hoped to go to medical school. She had even recently come out to her family as bisexual, showing a new layer of self-discovery and honesty. But her friends and brother revealed another side, a life she kept private. They told investigators that Mackenzie was active on dating apps like Tinder. Her brother knew she met up with men and may have had a boyfriend who lived in Park City. And she was a member of a more controversial site, Seeking Arrangement, a platform that explicitly connects sugar babies with sugar daddies and mamas. A male friend confirmed that Mackenzie was in fact a sugar baby. She met men through the site who would give her gifts and money. This perhaps explained the $300 and the new furniture. This friend, who described himself as casually dating Mackenzie since September 2018, said they were never exclusive and that he had plans to see her when she returned from California. One sorority sister even said Mackenzie had confessed a desire to be an exotic dancer, not out of desperation, but almost to get confidence and security in herself, to become more outgoing. This is a critical and heartbreaking piece of the puzzle. It's easy to use this piece to pass judgment on her, but that would be a gross oversimplification. A friend stated that Mackenzie had been sexually assaulted in 2018. She was in therapy on medication for depression and was struggling to cope with the trauma. It's impossible not to see a connection. This duality, the good sorority girl and the woman exploring a world of transactional relationships, wasn't a betrayal of who she was. It was likely a complex, very human attempt to reclaim a sense of power and control over her body, her finances, and her own life. Power that had been ruthlessly taken from her in the 2018 assault. One piece of this puzzle, a very sad one, came from an ex-boyfriend she dated until April 2018. He told police that after they broke up, she sent him a Snapchat video of herself in a private moment with 2 other people. He was shocked and blocked her. This is not the act of a bad person. This is the act of someone in pain. This is someone grappling with trauma in a way that might be self-sabotaging, acting out testing boundaries, and trying to prove something perhaps to herself, that she was in control, that her body was hers, even if her actions seemed chaotic. She was not just one thing. She was a daughter, a sister, a student, and a survivor navigating a complicated world. And it was this navigation, this search for connection and independence in the digital world, that led her to a crossroads with a predator. This is not a story about the dangers of her lifestyle. This is a story about a predator who exploited a platform built on anonymity and desire in order to hunt. He was the danger, not her.
Everyone is out looking for you around the country, and they all want you to know that we're advocating for you, we're fighting for you, and we're going to bring you home.
For the first few days, the investigation was a frantic search in a fog. Her family and sorority sisters plastered missing posters all over the city. A tip line was overwhelmed with information. This is a common and agonizing phase of any missing person case, the wave of false hope and bogus leads. One witness called in claiming to have seen Mackenzie on June 21st, 4 days after she vanished in a liquor store. This witness was specific. She was with a white male wearing a white shirt and jeans and had a tattoo on his arm above each elbow, one side letters and one side an arrow. It was a tantalizing lead, but it was wrong. Mackenzie did have a tattoo, but it was a star on her back. These false sightings born of good intentions are a cruel form of psychological torture for a family. They muddy the waters and steal precious time, sending investigators chasing ghosts while the real trail goes cold. The real trail wasn't on the streets. It was in the cloud. The investigation had one starting point, the airport. Police pulled the security footage. At 1:35 a.m., Mackenzie was on the flight manifest. She'd boarded. At 2:40 a.m., surveillance cameras captured her leaving the airport, pulling her suitcase, and getting into a lift. This was the first massive breakthrough. But it led to a question that changed the entire case. Police obtained the lift records. The ride picked up at 2:40 a.m. ended 19 minutes later at 2:59 a.m. The drop-off location was not her apartment. It was 16 East Center Street, North Salt Lake. Hatch Park, a small dark municipal park. This is the moment the case transitions from missing to high risk. No one has a friend pick them up at a dark park at 3:00 a.m. This was a clandestine meeting. This was the rendezvous from the shadow world of her digital life.
I remember I was actually going to turn off my my app and go home, but right then I got another order to go pick somebody up downtown. So I just went to go pick up that person.
Investigators tracked down the Lyft driver. He was quite possibly the last neutral person to see Mackenzie Lueck alive. His testimony was chilling. A chilling sliding doors moment. If he had gone home, another driver would have picked her up and there might have been a different witness or no witness at all. He said he picked her up and she was pleasant. He dropped her off as requested. At the park, a car was waiting. A person got out and Mackenzie walked toward them. He said she did not seem to be in any type of distress. They seemed to know each other. He overheard basic greetings. "How are you? How was your trip?" The most telling detail came from their small talk during the ride. The driver had commented on something being weird, and Mackenzie, perhaps with a small laugh, replied, "Not as weird as where you're dropping me off." She knew it was strange, but she wasn't scared. She trusted the person she was meeting. That trust sealed her fate. Police rushed to Hatch Park, hoping for surveillance footage. They were met with a small, frustrating, and darkly poetic irony. The park was equipped with cameras, but they were fake, non-operational. They were a facade of security, an illusion of safety, that in this case was tragically literal, an empty promise of protection. But the predator had made a mistake. He hadn't accounted for the power of digital surveillance he couldn't see. Investigators issued a broad geofence warrant, a digital net that identifies all cell devices that were in a specific area during a specific time frame. In the vicinity of Hatch Park, between 2:00 a.m. and 3:30 a.m. on June 17th, 6 devices pinged local cell towers. 1 belonged to the Lyft driver, 1 belonged to Mackenzie, and 1 other device pinged intersecting with Mackenzie's location just before her phone went dark. This device belonged to a 31-year-old man named Ayoola Ajayi. The name meant nothing to her family, but when police cross-referenced it, they found a digital link. Greg Lueck, in his own investigation, had pushed AT&T and discovered texts. Not just texts on the 16th, but in the early morning of the 17th, from 1:50 a.m. to 8 a.m. Mackenzie had texted 8 times with a single number. That number and encrypted messages from the day before on the TextMe app all pointed back to Ayoola Ajayi. This was no stranger. This was the man she had planned to meet. The city's police chief later told the press, "My commitment to Greg was that we would do everything in our power to bring Mackenzie home." Now they had their target. Who was Ayoola Ajayi? On the surface, he was a portrait of immigrant success. Born in Nigeria in 1988, he had been in Utah since at least 2009. His LinkedIn profile, a monument to a carefully crafted identity, listed him as an IT specialist for the U.S. Army with experience at giants like Dell, Goldman Sachs, and Microsoft. But this, like the cameras in the park, was a false front. In reality, Ajayi had been discharged from the Utah Army National Guard in 2015 with an entry-level separation. He never completed basic training and received no certifications. The medical reason was likely glaucoma. He had enrolled at Utah State University 3 separate times, but never earned a degree. Ajayi was in effect a grandiose failure masking his insecurities with a veneer of tech bro success. He was an IT specialist, which meant he understood geo-tracking. This made his next lies all the more calculated. He described himself as tall, athletic, and funny. "I'm a victim, romantic, aggressive, and character actor." He was literally telling the world who he was. He equated romance with aggression. He saw himself as both victim and aggressive. It was a stunning confession of a self-absorbed, conflicted mind. One modeling agent, Eve Keener, later came forward. Ajayi had approached her at a networking event wanting to sign with her agency. She turned him down. She said something about him gave her the creeps. She didn't feel comfortable having him in the same room with her young models. She listened to her intuition. On June 25th, 8 days after Mackenzie vanished, police knocked on Ayoola Ajayi's door. He was, by all accounts, cooperative. He agreed to come to the station. This is the classic confidence of the narcissist. He genuinely believed he was smarter than the police. He believed he could control this narrative just like he controlled his online persona. In the interrogation room, he was a string of plausible-sounding lies. Did he know Mackenzie Lueck? No, he didn't recognize the name or the photo. Was he at Hatch Park Num? What about his phone pinging there? Here, he argued, was a digital mistake. Since he was an IT guy, he had the perfect explanation. He left his home Wi-Fi open, with no password for his Airbnb guests. Someone in your home or someone using your IP address, the detective suggested, and Ajayi seized it. He even offered up an alibi. His baby's mother, Michelle, 8 months pregnant, had been with him. He claimed bizarrely that he didn't know her last name. And then he rolled out his biggest bluff. He said he had security cameras in the front and inside his house that could prove he was home.
So, I have security camera in front of the house, and then I have one inside the house. So that's my baby. Remember, she was with me on that day. So according to the video, she was with me.
He was proactively offering video evidence he knew would clear him. This is staggering confidence. He admitted to using seeking arrangement, but this is where his mask slipped into the absurd. He claimed he only used it because he had anxiety.
So I have PTSD and anxiety. I just need to talk to someone whenever I'm alone and I'm freaking out. So I never even try to meet them. I just need someone to talk to whenever I'm freaking out, so to calm down.
He tried to play the part of a helpful, confused citizen, even telling the detectives he was there against his lawyer's wishes. This is a classic tactic. He's trying to build rapport to make them think, this guy is so innocent he's defying his own lawyer to help us. He was performing, but police had the text me logs. They knew he was lying. He even said he had downloaded all the online evidence police wanted, implying his camera footage, but then was reluctant to turn it over. A clear contradiction. At the end of the interview, they let him go, but they confiscated his cell phone, and that same day, they served a search warrant on his house. The home was in a modest, quiet neighborhood. The scene was chaotic. Inside, they found another tenant, an Airbnb guest, who had just arrived from the airport that morning and was completely baffled to find his new rental full of police. Ajayi sat on his porch watching them. His victim act continued. He complained to the officers. He was complaining about procedure while they were steps away from discovering the remains of his victim. The audacity is staggering. In the backyard, they found the first physical crack in Ajayi's facade, a freshly dug patch of earth, and they heard from his neighbors. Neighbors reported that on June 17th, the very day Mackenzie disappeared, Ajayi had burned a large fire in his backyard. The smell, they said, was not wood. It was horrible. Foul. Really, really disgusting. One neighbor was so alarmed by the smell of gasoline and the foul odor that she confronted him, telling him he needed to call the fire department, or she would. While the search was ongoing, undercover officers tailed Ajayi, who had left the scene. He claimed he was going to the library. He didn't. He went to a Smith's grocery store and then to the bank inside. There he purchased a brand new prepaid burner cell phone. This is the act of a guilty man. This is panic. His digital mask had been torn away. His phone was gone. He was desperately trying to create a new invisible identity. But it was too late. The next day, June 26th, police brought Ajayi to the station again. This time, he was in custody. The sympathetic, "we're just clearing things up" tone was gone. They cornered him on the coincidences. His phone and her phone in the same park at the same second, just before her phone went dark forever.
You think honestly and expect me to believe that you ended that conversation and somehow you and her location end up in the exact same spot?
Oh, I'm not doubting you. How do I explain something I don't know?
He had no answers, but he had new, more desperate lies. Yes, he admitted he did have a fire on the 17th, but he was just burning some trash, some old clothes, and maybe some wooden pallets. Yes, his car was dirty. He had just been doing yard work planting flowers. Yes, there might be red stains in the fridge in his garage. He claimed this was because he had a habit of slaughtering goats for meat and burning them instead of skinning them, and some red stains might have dripped. But while Ajayi was spinning his web, the true crime community and local news were digging, and they found witnesses who painted a portrait of a monster in the making. First, a contractor named Brian Wolf came forward. He had been to Ajayi's home just 2 months prior in April 2019. Ajayi had tried to hire him for a weird job. Ajayi wanted him to build a small, secret soundproof room in his basement. He wanted it to have a secret door. He wanted it to have a fingerprint-activated lock. And he wanted, as Wolf put it, hooks hung on the wall. This is the answer to why. Mackenzie's death was not an accident. It wasn't a date gone wrong. It was premeditated. Ajayi was building a kill room. He was evolving. He was preparing. Next, a woman named Tara Chatterton came forward. She had been hired to clean Ajayi's house. She quit after just 1 day. Why the house, she said, was covered with cameras. She counted 8 to 10. She said it reminded her of the notorious serial killer Ted Bundy. But the detail that made her quit was this: Ajayi specifically and repeatedly asked her to bring her 12-year-old daughter with her to the cleanings. This is bone-chilling. "I just knew in my gut I shouldn't go back," she said. It wasn't just curiosity. It was grooming. It was testing boundaries, seeing what he could get away with. And then the most chilling voice from his past, his ex-wife. Tanisha Ajayi, still legally married to him and living in Dallas, Texas, described how he had seemed sweet. At first, he even used to send her money. But everything changed when she refused to move to Utah. He threatened to have her kidnapped and harmed. She said he once tried to restrain her with a phone cord. She escaped by jumping through a window. As she ran, he came after her with a kitchen knife and injured her hand. This wasn't his first red flag. In 2018, another woman he met on a dating app accused him of sexual assault, saying he had caused her serious harm. These were documented warnings, clear patterns of coercive control threats and violence that somehow went unaddressed. Then there was the book. In 2018, Ayoola Ajayi self-published a crime novel called Forge Identity. The story involved a young boy who witnesses a neighbor being killed and burned by a mob. Back at the house, the evidence was undeniable. A K-9 unit alerted to a freshly disturbed area in the backyard. When investigators dug, they recovered human remains and other evidence that confirmed his backyard fire had been a desperate attempt to destroy everything. In his car, police found a red gas can, the exact same one he was seen buying on surveillance footage at 9:00 a.m. that morning, just hours after the crime. The car smelled strongly of gasoline. They also discovered multiple knives, a hammer, and a firearm, along with a router and Wi-Fi mesh system that matched his tech-obsessed profile. Mackenzie's other belongings were later found on the banks of the Jordan River, her student ID items of her clothing, including her bra, which had burn marks on it. He was trying to dispose of the primary crime scene, the very place he likely took Mackenzie's life. And here is the knockout blow. Police recovered the security camera footage Ajayi had bragged about. As it turned out, he had turned off his security cameras before he left to meet Mackenzie. He had lied to the police. He had offered an alibi that he knew didn't exist. This was irrefutable proof of premeditation. On June 28th, DNA confirmed the remains from the fire pit were Mackenzie Lueck's. The police chief made the heartbreaking call to her father, Greg Lueck. It was one of the hardest calls I've ever had to make, he later told reporters. A SWAT team was sent in. They found Ajayi at a friend's apartment. Even in this moment, his primary concern was his public image. "I don't want my face on the news. Not, what is this about? Not, I'm innocent. But, how will this look?"
Hey Jay, you're being a little bit unreasonable, dude.
If you want to arrest me, I will come down and you can arrest me. If you're not trying to arrest me, then I don't want to talk to you.
What if I was trying to arrest you? Do you want to come down and talk to me?
Sure.
Okay, I'm trying to arrest you. Come down and talk to me.
Do you have your arrest warrant with you?
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks.
An officer got him on the phone to try and talk him into a peaceful surrender. This is not a man in a panic. This is a man at the end of a chess game. It's a negotiation. He's calm. He's collected. He's been caught. On July 3rd, investigators followed the digital trail and located her. The full tragic truth of her final moments emerged. Her hands had been bound behind her back with a zip tie. The autopsy confirmed she had been strangled and struck on the side of the head with a heavy blow. What he did was both calculated and deeply disturbing. He lured her to his home, a place she had no way of knowing was a predator's trap. He turned off all his security cameras, the same ones he used to monitor his cleaner before heading out. He knew exactly what he intended to do. He restrained her, took complete control, and ended her life. Then he attempted to carry out the dark fantasy from his novel, destroying all traces with fire. Prosecutor Sim Gill summed it up best. This wasn't about robbery. It wasn't a sexual encounter gone wrong. This was murder with deliberate intent. Ayoola Ajayi wanted to experience what it felt like to take a human life. Mackenzie Lueck became the victim of that deadly curiosity. And here is the final infuriating systemic failure. During the search of his electronics, police allegedly found images of child exploitation. He was charged with 19 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor, but those 19 charges were later dismissed. This was a man already on law enforcement's radar for domestic violence, sexual assault, and possession of child exploitation material. Yet for reasons that remain unclear and devastating, the system failed to stop him until it was too late. On October 7, 2020, to avoid the death penalty, Ayoola Ajayi pleaded guilty to first-degree murder and third-degree desecration of a human body. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. For the separate 2018 assault, he received 1 to 15 years. The aftermath for Mackenzie's loved ones is a life sentence of its own. Her father, Greg, said, "My daughter Mackenzie Lueck was a sweet, amazing young woman with the whole world in front of her. Now I will not have the chance to see her blossom in her life. Instead of planning my daughter's graduation party, I was planning her memorial. My heart is broken to know that she died alone in such a scary place. It feels like a nightmare I can't wake up from. But unfortunately, it's reality." One friend, voice breaking. Why Kenzie? What did she do to deserve that? Why burn half her body? In a final bizarre and grim twist just months after his arrest, Ajayi's 1,800-square-foot home, the house where Mackenzie was brutalized, the house with the fire pit in the back, was listed for sale for $349,000. The online listing called it an investment opportunity. The headline read, "Cutest house on the block." The world simply and horrifically moves on. This case is a brutal wake-up call about the illusion of safety. A park with fake cameras, a charming model with a successful IT career who was secretly a violent predator, a dating app that promises connection but can deliver you to someone building a private trap. The heartbreaking truth: Mackenzie's trust was weaponized against her. She knew being dropped at a park at 3 a.m. was weird, but she went anyway. She trusted him. Our greatest defense is that gut instinct. If something feels wrong, it is. If someone feels off, they are. Always have a safety plan. Always meet in a public, well-lit place. Share your location with a friend. Create a code word. But the bigger lesson is for society. We must take red flags of violence against women seriously. Ex-wives' stories, assault accusations, these aren't isolated incidents. They're a predator's pattern. Tanisha Ajayi's account of being restrained and threatened wasn't just a domestic dispute, it was a dress rehearsal for murder. We failed Mackenzie Lueck by not seeing the monster standing right in front of us. Thank you for watching this in-depth analysis. What are your thoughts on the complex details of this case? Are there other lessons we can draw? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this content valuable, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes.